by reading one of Srila Prabhupada's instructions on the chanting the holy names. This is from the Srimad Bhagavatam. Sri Kṛṣṇa, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma, supersoul in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee, who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. Purport: messages of the personality of Godhead Sri Kṛṣṇa are non-different from him. Whenever, therefore, offenseless hearing and glorification of God are undertaken, it is to be understood that Lord Krishna is present there in the form of transcendental sound, which is as powerful as the Lord personally. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his Shikshashtaka declares clearly that the holy name of the Lord has all the potencies of the Lord, and that he has endowed his innumerable names with the same potency. There is no rigid fixture of time, and anyone can chant the holy name with attention and reverence at his convenience. The Lord is so kind to us that he can be present before us personally in the form of transcendental sound, but unfortunately we have no taste for hearing and glorifying the Lord's name and activities. We have already discussed developing a taste for hearing and chanting the holy sound. It is done through the medium of service to the pure devotee of the Lord. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's spiritual master, Srila Ishvara Puri, told him, that is his disciple, Lord Chaitanya, Harinama, Harinama, Harinama eva kevalam kalauna stevana stevana steva gatiranyata. The Kali Yuga is a very confused age. And it's very difficult to make spiritual advancement by complicated means. So the most powerful, but the simplest means is just to glorify the names of the Lord. And anyone who practices and then develops a taste for the holy name, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, becomes the most fortunate of all people. Anuragto habehe. Just get a taste for chanting this holy name, and you've completed the process in one fell swoop. So this morning, we're going to practice together, repeating the Maha Mantra, and just with our hearts calling out to Krishna, please, may I have a taste, and may I serve you, please. And keep our minds fixed on the sound of the holy name, and together we'll rise above the ocean of Kali Yuga. We start with the Panchatattva Mahamantra. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna. I'm reading the next installment from Srila Prabhupada's instructions, and this one comes from the Nectar of Instruction. One should mentally honor the devotee who chants the holy name of Lord Krishna. One should offer humble obeisances to the devotee who has undergone spiritual initiation, Diksha, and is engaged in worshiping the deity. And one should associate with and faithfully serve that pure devotee who is advanced in undeviated devotional service and whose heart is completely devoid of the propensity to criticize others. Purport: in this Krishna consciousness movement, a chance is given to everyone without discrimination of caste, creed, or color. Everyone is invited to join this movement, sit with us, take prasad, and hear about Krishna. When we see that someone is actually interested in Krishna consciousness and wants to be initiated, we accept him as a disciple for the chanting of the holy name of the Lord. When a neophyte devotee is actually initiated and engaged in devotional service by the orders of the spiritual master, he should be accepted immediately as a bona fide Vaishnava, and obeisances should be offered to him. Out of many such Vaishnavas, one may be found to be very seriously engaged in the service of the Lord and strictly following all the regulative principles, chanting the prescribed number of rounds on japa, beads, and always thinking of how to expand the Krishna consciousness movement. Such a Vaishnava should be accepted as an Uttama Adhikari and a highly advanced devotee, and his association should always be sought. The process by which a devotee becomes attached to Krishna is described in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antya 4, 192. At the time of initiation, when a devotee fully surrenders to the service of the Lord, Krishna accepts him to be as good as himself. Diksha, or spiritual initiation, is explained in the Bhakti Sandarbha 868 by Srila Jiva Goswami. By Diksha, one gradually becomes disinterested in material enjoyment and gradually becomes interested in spiritual life. And this Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, because as Prabhupada said in the first verse we heard from in his purport, that because it's non-different from Krishna, it's unlimitedly, the name of Krishna is unlimitedly fascinating and interesting. Right now, the mind, under the spell of the mode of material nature, finds objects in the material world to be interesting and goes from one to the next. But the process is that of transferring our interest from the material world and the modes of material nature to the name of Krishna, which is described Namachintamani Krishnas, Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha, Purna Shuddha Nitya Mukto Binatvam Namanamino. That is, that there's no difference between Krishna and his name, and it's full of all rasa. In other words, it's the most interesting thing. All the interesting things we see in this world are only reflections coming from that original, most interesting person with qualities that fascinate the mind. So if by practice, one can gradually come to be interested in the holy name and the process of chanting the holy name, and just as someone becomes addicted to something in the material world, like smoking, one gradually becomes addicted to chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, then opposite to smoking, in which one gets all kinds of bad effects, in the chanting the holy name and one's addiction to it, one gets all good qualities, including becoming disinterested naturally to the material world and also getting clear knowledge of reality. Nasato vidite bhavo, na bhavo vidite sata, ubaryo api drishnon tas tvanayos tat vadarshibi. One sees what's real and what's not real, and then has no interest whatsoever in engaging in that which is not real. So this practicing of chanting every day is the most important of all the practices that we do in the Krishna consciousness movement. And now let's just hear any reflections you have from the readings or for anything that we've talked about so far.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
How was your chanting process?
Okay.
Go ahead, Gandharvika Radha Devi.
So just one quick point I noticed is that
how come I can't hear?
Hare Krishna.
Now I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. One point that I noticed is that how much the timing and the environment is very important in chanting, especially because of the mind. Usually when I go out to pluck the flowers, if it's early in the morning, the flowers are very fresh and it's so like lively to touch the flowers and pluck them. But if something happens in the morning and I don't do it, and if I go in the evening, all the flowers are already withered and they're almost dying. So like that, I was just thinking how our mind is also very fresh in the morning. And if we use it in the service of Krishna, the first thing, then it's very easy to focus on the holy name because the mind is not withered by so many the happenings of the world. So, and especially using that time in the association of devotees like this is very, very, it's a great blessing. And we are fortunate to have this. Thank you.
That's a brilliant point you've just made. And I love I could see Malini's really enjoying your analogy a lot. It's really helpful. it is such a good point about timing, picking the right times to practice so that you can get the full benefit. And of course, we could chant 24 hours a day, but if we chant at the opportune times, then the focus, the freshness of our minds and so forth is really present. Excellent. Thank you. Very helpful. What other realizations do you have from what you heard so far this morning or from the chanting session or about chanting in general you can share with all the devotees?
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Shadadevi Dasi, and then Malini.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, Dandavat Pranam. Yesterday, Preeti Radhika was just sharing with us that His Holiness Giriraj Swami Maharaj was talking about chanting of the holy names, and he mentioned that as you progress in chanting of the holy names of the Lord, you move from a state where you say that this chanting is coming in my worldly life to a state where you say my worldly life is coming in my chanting. I was just connecting that to what you said in the morning, was that you asked us to pray that we develop a taste. And I was just thinking that it is really the taste or ruchi that makes us think that my worldly life is coming in my chanting, So thank you so much for reminding that.
Yes, thank you for bringing that point. In the Gita, Krishna says, Vishya vinivartante nirahara dehina rasavarjam rasopyasya param dushma nivartate. That as one's restraining one's senses in the beginning of practicing spiritual life, one notices that the taste remains for the sense objects, even though I'm restraining. However, when one experiences a higher taste, especially from the holy name, then there's no more restraint. One's actually transferred, made the step from being attracted to the dull material world into the actual substance where real attraction is reciprocated properly. Malini, thank you, Shraddha.
Prabhu, I really like the point that you reminded us that if you offenselessly, wherever there is offenseless chanting and glorification of the holy name is there, Lord Krishna is personally present. I was thinking about that for us to be offenselessly chanting, the first thing is that we have to be attentive to the holy name. And I was meditating on that point, and then I realized that when Arjuna said that, oh, Krishna, it's very difficult to control the mind. It is harder than controlling the wind. And I was thinking that how he might have felt. And I also felt that I also feel the same thing every day, that it's so hard to control the mind. But by constant practice, every day there is like a molecule of improvement, like little by practice. At least you hear one mantra or maybe half a mantra or maybe sometimes more mantras than you expect. But thank you so much, Prabhu, for reminding that offenseless chanting is important.
Thank you very much, Malini. And coming into the point of being offenseless, Prabhupada sometimes called the clearing stage Nāmābhāsa. There's a way in which if we keep trying, Krishna notices that we're showing up, and despite the fact that the mind's difficult to control or sometimes we don't have taste, we show up anyway. This is an indication that one's moving into that clearing stage. The Padma Purāṇa says, nāmāparādha-yuktānāṁ nāmāny haranty agham aviśrānti-prayuktāni evārtha-karāṇi. Even if you're offensive in chanting, keep showing up and keep the mantra going no matter what, because the mantra is more powerful than mine. It can overcome. And there is a point at which we'll cross over. Even one mantra crossed over from offensive chanting into the Nāmābhāsa. Thakur Haridāsa says it's so beneficial that it can clear one's way for more offenseless chanting. And you have to start somewhere. So don't stop chanting. Always show up for the practice as much as you can be attentive and get that one molecule you're talking about, Malini. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna, Vaisesika Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, so what happened was that during last week, I was bringing a can of milk from temple, and the milk spilled all over my car. And the milk smell is the worst smell, unfortunately, if it gets in your car. And I couldn't get it all cleaned out. And that whole smell has been so much bothering me. How to get it out. That's in my back of my mind from last 3 days. And I was just thinking, and yesterday while dressing in the morning, I was listening to Srila Prabhupada's lecture, and Prabhupada says that, do you know, even if you wash very nicely the bottle of alcohol, you can't get rid of that smell. So I was just thinking, but Prabhupada said similarly, with the process of bhakti, you can get rid of that smell of our material life, the internal smell and stuff. So I was thinking all this smell has been in my mind, and I was thinking these anarthas, these desires, the hankering, and so much, everything is that ties us down is that smell, and I was thinking that today morning chanting made me feel like this could help me to get rid of that smell of life there. So I just wanted to share chanting with you, and everyone made me this, give me hope, holding the beliefs that this can help me to get rid of the smell of the anarthas.
Well, on the bright side, Hansapri, you gave your car an abhishekam. Just tell people, we always do this. We give the cars a complete abhishekam. Yes, it's a nice analogy, that the way that the lingering anarthas, and this is something that comes up in the purport to te anukampam susamikshimano bunjani vatma kritam vipakam. And that is that the great Vaishnava acharyas, Vishwanath Chakravarti, Srila Sridhar Swami comment on this verse, and they say, even after one surrenders to Krishna, there is some residual. There's a residual attraction to something in the material world. And it's like an odor. If you burn a papadum, 2 hours later, someone will come in your house and say, hey, who burned a papadum? You could, the residual flavor, smell is there. But as you've noted, when we continue the process of chanting Hare Krishna, then gradually that will be transformed into a different kind of scent, which is an intoxicating scent of aguru, the smell that naturally emanates from Krishna, or chatusana, where there's all the scents around Krishna are fully intoxicating. So we can pray like that. Let the stench of material life be replaced with the beautiful odors, scents of the spiritual world. When my heart becomes...
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Earlier this morning when I was chanting, I was just realizing that, Srila Prabhupada established temples, 108 temples around the world. Such beautiful deities he established. So I was just thinking that we've been also learning that this Hare Krishna Mahamantra is also a personality and a deity, in fact. And the verse that came to my mind was the one you just mentioned, nāmāchantāmani Krishna, Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha. So apart from the deities, the standard deities which are made of the 7 elements, the stone, wood, etc., this deity is made of rasa, transcendental mellows. So, and it makes it far more transcendental and subtle. So much so that I mean, the holy name allows himself to travel along with you everywhere, and I can carry him everywhere and serve this deity in any situation possible. So I thought I can accept this as my own personal deity that I can travel with everywhere. And as I do it more by traveling, I mean, serving by attentive chanting and offenseless chanting. And the more I do that, the holy name reveals himself, because after all, abhinatvam nāmāny, it's non-different from Krishna. So
very nice, Bhakti Rohit. Also, taking the holy name, as Prabhupada did, to all the different continents of the world and installing it in the hearts of others. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to village. He didn't install deities, he installed the holy name. He induced people to chant and to sit. In the case of Kurma Brahma, in which Kaviraj Goswami said, this is the example by which you can understand what Mahaprabhu did in every village he went to in South India. He would go there and bring the people together and say, you chant together, keep chanting the holy names of the Lord. And so this is the best kind of deity worship when tapyante lokatapina sarava prayasojana parama aradhanam taddi purushasya kilatmana. You go out of your way, take some trouble to install the deity of the holy name in the hearts of others. And when they're chanting the holy name, then you've established another temple. And that was one of the missions of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to get everyone chanting. So let's take the last few minutes to give a full attention to chanting the Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, dear devotees, for joining the Japa circle this morning. Please keep the transcendental vibration going always. And Krishna always carries what you lack and preserves what you have. A holy name is our only shelter. And I'll see you in 20 minutes to start the next class. Mantra kalpatarishya kripasinabhevacha patitanam bhavanibhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Very good part, chanting like that. Hare Krishna. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo.